Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be speaking about COVID-19 vaccines, and I'm with you today from Bibliging. My name is Bassante Shehata. I'm a doctor. I'm a medical doctor, and I've worked shortly with the UNHCR in Cairo as a medical assistant doctor. Right now, I'm a master's student at the University of Heidelberg, studying international health. So today we are actually going to address a lot of the misconceptions about COVID-19 vaccines and a lot of the questions that you usually have. Shortly, I will give a very small presentation sharing the most common information about the vaccination and the side effects. So as you can see here through my screen, there is the different types of COVID-19 vaccines. So we have, like in Germany, we have Pfizer and BioNTech, we have Johnson & Johnson, we have Moderna, and we have AstraZeneca. For Pfizer and Moderna, both of them are mRNA in nature, and both of them are 2 shots. For Pfizer, you have to wait until 21 days to take between the first and the second shot. And for Moderna, it's about the waiting period is about 28 days apart. For Johnson & Johnson, it's only 1 shot. It's a bit different. So what we're using in this vaccine is a viral vector. For AstraZeneca, we have this adenovirus, which has been modified to have a gene from the protein of SARS-CoV-2, which is like the virus that causes the COVID-19 disease. And now here we are going to see a very small video about vaccine safety. And yeah, so let me go again and share with you my video from YouTube. Please let me know if you can hear it.
Developing a vaccine is a
Can you hear the
long
sound?
road full of checkpoints. Different phases of testing are designed to make sure it is both effective and safe. But with the whole world struggling to contain a pandemic and unprecedented amounts of scientific work taking place, the road to finding the COVID-19 vaccine looks more like this. But first, let's take a look at the usual path. During preclinical trials, the vaccine is tested on animals to determine whether they develop antibodies to the disease-causing germ. If these trials are successful, the candidate vaccine moves on to phase 1 trials in humans, during which the vaccine is given to a small number of healthy adults to assess its safety in humans. The results of every phase are reviewed by independent clinical experts who assess the research team's findings. Sometimes they'll pause the trials to check the results, always making sure the candidate vaccine is safe. The next phase involves testing a larger group of people to find out the appropriate dose, whether it stimulates an immune response, and of course, to assess its safety. Once the results have been checked by the independent expert observers, the candidate vaccine is evaluated among thousands more volunteers. This phase determines whether it is effective against disease. If the answer is yes, the vaccine is independently assessed by regulators for effectiveness, safety, and manufacturing quality. It is also assessed by independent policymakers who determine the best way to use the vaccine. If the assessment meets the regulatory standards, the product can be authorized for use, and the vaccine is then ready for licensing and registration. Once that happens, the approved vaccine can be used in the population. But because of the urgent need for a COVID-19 vaccine, some of the phases can run in parallel, and the research team can submit a request for temporary authorization from national regulatory authorities and an emergency use listing from WHO. This authorization and WHO emergency listing are only given if the vaccine meets strict safety and effectiveness criteria. But the road doesn't stop there. Once the vaccine is in use, it continues to be monitored by health authorities for safety and for effectiveness to ensure the vaccine maintains the highest standards. The race is on to find vaccines for COVID-19, which is why some phases are happening at the same time. But no one is cutting corners. everyone is subject to the same checks and independent monitoring. So although we'll get the COVID-19 vaccines faster, they'll be as safe as other approved vaccines.
So this was like a small video explaining the process of vaccine safety. And now we are going to talk about side effects. And as for side effects, it's really important to note that mild to moderate side effects are like a normal biological reaction to the vaccines, because that means that actually there is an immune response that your body is making against this parts of the virus that you've been injected with, and this is totally normal. Now we are going to discuss the most common side effects. So we have like local side effects, which means like these are the side effects at the site of the injection, which will mean like you could have like pain, redness, or swelling. As for the general side effects, which is much more common and a lot of people actually experience them, which will be fatigue, headache, muscle pain, chills, fever, and nausea. It's important to note that if you have severe side effects for more than 3 days, that you actually report to the local health authorities or your doctor about it. There is a lot of misinformation and a lot of disinformation that has been going on and on with the COVID-19 situation since the beginning, not only about the vaccines. So now we're going to tackle the side effects that are actually commonly asked about, and there's a lot of myth and a lot of highlighting about those side effects. So there is a less common side effect as the one happening with AstraZeneca. So we've heard that there is a lot of thrombosis, and it's specifically called thrombocytopenia syndrome, and which involves like severe blood clotting events associated with low platelet counts. This is a picture of how it might present. It's notable to say that this is a very, very, very rare side effect, which only affects 1 per 100,000 at a rate of 1 per 100,000 in the European Union. This side effect is still going to be studied and documented until this point. So what we have now what we have declared now, that if you're having a bleeding disorder or low platelet count, it's very much important that you speak to your doctor and inform them about this type of disease that you have, or this type of bleeding disorder that you've been struggling with, and you can actually take another type of vaccine. But it's very important that you be aware that if you have a bleeding disorder, or ask your doctor and talk to them thoroughly through the history taking process about all the things that you might be having. A lot of the questions that we've been receiving is actually about women. So as you know, women go through a lot of processes through their lives. So for pregnancy, for example, it's one of the most common questions. So according to the CDC, pregnant women are actually at a higher risk of getting COVID-19. But does this mean that they are advised to take the vaccines or not? Until now, the vaccines have not been tested at the earlier stage on pregnant women. So now there is more and more studies that we need to do in order to ensure the safety. But what we have now for sure is that pregnant women who are at high risk, for example, healthcare worker or pregnant women who have chronic diseases, should be considered for getting vaccination after discussion with the healthcare provider. So for women who are pregnant, it's very important to talk to your doctor and to consult him about your situation and whether or not you are a fit for the COVID-19 vaccines. It's notable to say that recent studies that have been done on pregnant women doesn't really show much difference of the outcome of pregnancy normally and the outcome of pregnancy if you have the COVID-19 vaccine. So this is a hint that it might be safe during pregnancy, but a lot of studies are still needed. And now we are going to discuss lactation. for women. So it has not either been studies on lactating women. So based on what we have until this moment, it's actually safe to take the COVID-19 vaccine, and if you're having a nursing baby or nursing a baby. But it's notable to say vaccines that don't contain live viruses does not pose a risk on the baby. So this is the vaccines that have mRNA in nature. So if you are vaccinated for the coronavirus and lactating, there is no need to delay or discontinue breastfeeding according to the CDC and the WHO. One of the most, I can say, like hot topic and the questions that people are talking about every time is fertility. So there's a lot of worries about if the COVID-19 vaccine actually affects fertility. So no, getting the COVID-19 vaccine will not affect your fertility according to the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control in the USA. And women actively trying to conceive may be vaccinated with the current COVID-19 vaccines. There is no reason to delay pregnancy after completing all the vaccine series. Actually, the same goes for men as well. So there has been studies that there is no effect of the COVID-19 on the sperm count, for example, for men. So as we can see here, there is no link between COVID-19 until this moment, COVID-19 and fertility. Where you can go and inform yourself more. There is a lot of websites at the WHO website. It's important to say that it has a lot of languages, so it's not only in English. It's offered in Arabic, Chinese, Spanish, and French. And English, of course, so you can inform yourself about the different misconceptions and misinformation about COVID-19. We actually received a lot of other questions regarding allergies, for example. So it's very important that when you are taking when the doctor is taking your history before the vaccination, that you talk to them about any previous allergies that you had, either from a drug or from a certain type of food that you're having, so they could decide which type of the vaccine you could take, or if there is some sort of allergies that you might have. Also, we have received a lot of questions about Johnson & Johnson, because it has a similar kind of situation as AstraZeneca with the thrombosis, and especially for people who are aged 18 to 59, more than the people who are 60 and older. There has been like blood clots and thrombosis, but this is also very, very rare, especially in women. So about 7 per 1 million vaccinated women would have this side effect. So what to expect when getting a vaccine? The medical professional will advise you on whether or not you should receive the vaccine, as we explained in different situations at the moment. A health worker will administer the vaccine, and you may need to wait for a few minutes before leaving to ensure that there are no unexpected reactions. It's important to talk, as we said, about your history and medical history. I would like to say that it's very important to keep yourself informed through credible resources such as the WHO website, CDC, and Robert Koch Institute that will provide you with the information that you need. And also, it's very important that you remain patient while you wait for the vaccination, because there is a lot of waiting going on at the moment. And you can easily access that on the online website and get yourself a vaccine appointment. So I also would like to stay informed and stay safe. And also, when in doubt, ask your doctor, ask your family doctor, or as we actually say here in Germany, it's your Hausarzt. So it's very important to seek advice from medical professionals. And please, if you have any further questions, please let me know. Type it in the chat, or unmute yourself and simply ask. Thank you. So do we have any questions from our guests?
Hallo, Madam, Mrs. Sata.
Hi.
Yeah, we have hear you. Thank you very much. It is well clear. And
Thank you.
by me also in the beginning, I was a little bit afraid about it because the COVID-19 have make a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
And through the injection, I had hear a lot of rumors and I was a little bit anxious. I was afraid about it. But at the end, yeah, before I take I take my first injection. And now I'm waiting for the next one. But anyway, I didn't see any side effect on it. And it's only helped me anyway to stay strong and, forward.
Great. And which type of vaccine did you take, if I may ask?
Seneca, yeah? Okay, then I must look here because I had the name, but anyway, yeah, it was well done.
And the whole process was smooth?
It was, sorry, Norman?
Was it smooth, the whole process of the vaccination?
Yeah, it was smooth, yeah, because as you said here, there's a photo corrections that they may ask you what is your allergy system, what kind of medical do you take, and which kind of disease you contain or you have, and this is exactly what we go through, and I filled up all my answers, and luckily I didn't have any effect side that I didn't take any medical right now for any kind of disease.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. And the medication also was 2 days, little bit pain. When I take it, it have make any movement of my system that I could tell, yeah, this is the things that I take. But after, and the next day, I started to feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I can see we have a hand raised. Hi, Constantine. Would you like to share something with us?
Hello, Doctor. There's two questions that I got asked quite often, and I'd be happy if you could elaborate on them. The first one being, are there any expected side effects that are not seen yet? That is, that side effects that might show up after years, not weeks, but like if we vaccinate everyone now, I was asked this more often, will there be any side effects that we don't know possibly yet? Is this usual with vaccines? And the second question, of course, is about, are all vaccines equal, or is there vaccines that are not as good as others? Because these two questions arose in discussions. Thank you.
You're welcome. So as for your first question, until now, if the WHO declares on its website, we don't really know the long-term side effects of the COVID-19 vaccination, and until this point, there is no expectations of like long-term side effects. But as well as I have explained in the video, that we are in the fourth stage of the vaccine safety phases, and this is the stage where you actually, if you've got any side effect or if anybody has got side effect, they have to report it to the health authorities, so they would know if there is a specific side effect. And this is what actually has been happening with AstraZeneca, for example, and then there would be more and more studies about it, and like more research to see if in the future there is a certain type of susceptibility for a certain for certain individuals, or for a certain sex, or for a certain gender. This is as for your first question. And the second question, is there vaccines better than others? All of the vaccines are proven to be safe and protective against the COVID-19 vaccination. Actually, vaccine safety varies from one vaccines to another. So for Pfizer and BioNTech, the safety reaches up to 95%, for example. It's a little bit less for AstraZeneca, which is like I believe 80%. So it's different from one vaccine to another, but what we are sure of that they all offer protection against COVID-19 infection, and they are all effective until this moment, according to the WHO and CDC.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Oh, there was one third one maybe.
Okay.
That I was asked, or that I was told was, I don't need a vaccine because I can eat healthy and get sunlight, and this will be enough for me not to catch the virus, which is what younger people sometimes told me. What would be your answer as a doctor?
Well, as we all know, COVID-19 actually affects all age groups. There is a higher risk group, which is like people who have chronic disease and above 60, but that doesn't mean that there hasn't been severe disease in people who are at a younger age group, for example. So getting vaccinated will ensure that you are safe from getting the infection, and being young or getting sunlight does not really mean that you are immune. We still have to do what we have to do. Getting vaccination is a step in the right direction. It also offers that you not only protect yourself, you're also protecting the community. And this is what we're trying to reach. You're protecting the people in your family, you're protecting other people who are actually also at a higher risk. And together with the social distancing, wearing masks and all that kind of stuff, we will be able to overcome the pandemic. So it goes hand in hand, and it doesn't mean if I'm healthy then I don't need to do anything. No, all of us should get vaccinated if we want to. It's also important to emphasize that it's a free choice. So what we are trying to do here is that we inform people as much as we can, and to correct the misinformation they might have, the fears that they might have. But in the end of the day, they decide freely if they want to get vaccinated or not.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, at the end, I would like to thank you all if there aren't any more questions. And thank you so much for being with us and discussing this important topic. And yeah, have a lovely day.